I was asked earlier tonight what my favorite band was right now, and that's Seventh Wonder. That's it. Songs like that are the reason why. That was Break the Silence off of Mercy Falls. And before that, about 10 minutes ago, was Iron Maiden doing Invaders off of Number of the Beast. And that CD is, I think I said 25 years old. It's 35 years old. Let me make sure I'm doing the math right. 1982 to 92 to 2002. That'd be 20. Yeah, so 30. Oh my gosh. I don't want to think about that because that makes me even older. I'm Ken, the Old Metal Professor, and that wraps up Mostly Metal here for the evening on WVLP 103.1 Low Power FM in Valparaiso, Indiana. And now it's time for some wrestling talk.
Your insubordination will not be tolerated.
And this is now the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program. How's that for a transition? I'm still Ken, the Metal Professor. This is still WVLP 103.1 Low Power FM, Valparaiso, Indiana. The plan for tonight had been for Mr. Eric King and Adam Bueller and Ames to visit the studio. Eric King is the promoter of Pro Wrestling King, one of the local wrestling promotions in the northern and northwest and central Indiana area. And Adam Bueller and Ames are two of the performers who are going to lock up for a title match this coming weekend at a show in South Bend. And we are going to talk about that show and their match and what they like about wrestling and all sorts of things. But then this little bit of snow came down, and it wasn't that much, but it was enough to spoil trying to drive from South Bend and Lafayette on a dark Sunday night. It just wasn't worth it, and so hopefully those guys can make it into the studio maybe in February to talk about the show after it's over with. One of them might not like the other one so much if they, depending on how that title match comes out. We're going to talk about that show coming up soon, but just to point out what those guys were going to give up. I want to tip my hat and give them a shout out because they were willing to miss the Royal Rumble to be here at WVLP and talk to me and talk to you about the business that they love. I am missing the Royal Rumble, but that's easier for me because when I'm out of here, I can just get home in like 10 minutes and then watch it. And those guys would have had a long drive back. So hats off to them for having been willing to do that. I've been in the studio since 8 o'clock, and it's normally I'm in here and during the Mostly Metal part of the show, I tell you what I've got going on in the studio while the music's playing, and I mentioned I've got my iced coffee, and I usually tell you what comics I've brought along to read. And I'm usually, posting on Facebook and reading Facebook, and I'm trying to stay off of that so I don't get Royal Rumble spoilers tonight till I get home. And that is really hard to sit here for an hour and a half while music is playing and not get on my phone and play on Facebook. Oh, that's terrible. I'm shaking, but I think I'm going to make it. So what I'm going to do here is tell you a little bit about some shows that are coming up in the near future and concentrating on a show coming up next weekend in South Bend. But I'm going to sort of go backwards, so because that's the one I want to spend the most time on. So coming up next weekend, the 2 weekends from now, February 10th, out in Warsaw, Friday, February 10th, you've got Functified Wrestling with Rampage. And battles such as Nick Cutler versus Ames. And yes, that is the same Ames that will be in South Bend next weekend and was going to be in the studio tonight. You've got the Storm Brothers, Kevin and Theo, against the Midwest Monsters, Tank and Brutus Dillon. Lightning Bolt Johnson versus Drax O'Brien. Fireball versus JD Smooth, JC Bunyan, the Mighty Lumberjack, versus Deputy Dave. And Jacob Braun versus Alexander S. Kirk versus Matt O'Hare. And so Warsaw is about an hour and 15 minutes from here. And if the weather is not like tonight, it's not that bad of a drive for some good wrestling on Friday night. Now, Saturday, February 11th, there's a couple of local shows. And this one's tough because they're both within very reasonable distance of Valpo. So Saturday night, February 11th, there's two shows within like 20 to 30 minutes of here. Well, one's a little farther than that. But Hammond, Indiana, is host to ARW Pro's fundraiser for the Oliver P. Morton High School Band Uniform Fund. So ARW Pro is doing that show Saturday, February 11th at the Morton High School in Hammond. And also that same night, you've got Acme Championship Wrestling doing a show down at the DeMott Boxing Club it's in DeMott because it's the DeMott Boxing Club. So if you're a wrestling fan, you probably can't make it to both, although the Acme show starts at 6 and the ARW Pro starts at 7:30. Yeah, there's no way you can do that. So you have to choose, which is always tough. And sometimes it's easy to pick if one's a lot farther away, but those two are actually pretty close to us, so rough choice. I can't go to either because I will be at the Star Plaza in Merrillville watching Dennis DeYoung doing the music of Styx. Yeah, I'm picking Styx and Dennis DeYoung instead of wrestling. So there, on that night only. And then the next weekend, Saturday, February 18th, Fire Pro Wrestling doing a show, Revelations. They usually run in Merrillville, and I'm assuming this show is also going on at Impact Christian Church out there in Merrillville. Adam Bueller versus Austin Fury for the Impact Championship. And this is, again, the same Adam Bueller that was going to be here in the studio, if not for the stupid snow. Kevin Graves versus Dashing Dick Davis in a no-holds-barred match, and Flash Harris versus Christopher Kent in a no-DQ match. Those are the matches I know about there at Fire Pro. Now, I was going to ask him about this because here at WVLP, we do ask the hard questions, you know. Adam Bueller there in that title match for Fire Pro Wrestling on Saturday, February 18th. He's also in that title match against Ames next weekend in South Bend. And, you know, if he wins both of those matches, he could potentially have two titles from two different groups in this area. He'd be halfway to the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Grand Slam. And I'm wondering, is that a little greedy? Should he be sharing the wealth a little bit, not trying to collect all those titles? But unfortunately, we can't hear his answer. Maybe someday he can talk to us about that. All right, so that's what's coming up in the far weekends. And there's plenty more coming up through March and April, but we have also time through February to talk about those shows. In Valparaiso proper, the next show that I know of coming up actually in town is Saturday, April 8th. That will be Smash Fest, run by Smash Mouth Pro Wrestling. That's going to be a pretty big event with lots of guests coming in from the old WWF and WCW days and things like that. So big names abounding. We'll talk more about that. Maybe we'll get in Mr. Jeremy Seabolt one more time to the studio, who's the promoter of Smash Mouth Pro Wrestling, and he can tell us all about the fun that's going to go on that weekend. But what I want to do here is concentrate on what's happening next weekend. And anybody who's listening and who likes wrestling in this area, consider going out to South Bend to show your support next Saturday, February 4th. There's a long day of wrestling at the Century Center in South Bend. Now, the Century Center is downtown South Bend, and it's actually a great venue for wrestling. The room that it's in is almost like a tiered classroom, but with a very, very large floor area. And so you've got tiered seating kind of surrounding the wrestling ring. So there's not a bad seat in the house. It's a terrific place to see a show. Maybe you could use a little more leg room for tall guys like me, but who knows? So during the day, Saturday, February 4th, Strong Style Wrestling is having a show called New Blood, where they're bringing in some people from outside the area that haven't wrestled here much at all before, and putting them in pairs and having some expositions. What do you call that? And what do you call that when you like have a baseball game that doesn't count? Exhibition. Yeah, that's what it is. Some wrestling exhibitions. I mean, they count, but you know, the wrestlers are trying to make a good impression to see who might be able to come back to do some shows here, I suppose. So that's going to go on in the afternoon, starting at 1 o'clock. Now, this is 1 o'clock Eastern time. That's 12 o'clock Valpo time. So if you're going to drive out there, you need to think about getting up by around 10 or 10:30. And then in the late afternoon, there's a meet and greet session for a lot of the stars coming in for the evening's event. The evening's event starts at 7 o'clock South Bend time. And this is a combination of Strong Style Wrestling, Revolution Championship Wrestling, and Pro Wrestling King. All three promotions coming together to produce When Worlds Collide 3. And this is going to be a who's who of local wrestling and also of special names coming in to help make it a special event. And so this kind of thing I would really like to see good support for. I'm going to get out there myself, as long as there's not a blizzard or something like that, to support this. So here's what's going on in that show. For example, you have special guest manager Teddy Long coming in. Everybody hopefully remembers him from a few years ago from WWE and WCW. And here's what Teddy has to say about the show.
Hey, what's up, players? This is Teddy Long. And on Saturday, February the 4th, I will be in South Bend, Indiana at the Century Center for a big wrestling show. It's called When Worlds Collide 3. That's right, When Worlds Collide 3. Now, also, I am going to be the general manager for the night. And with that being said, I will be representing 3 major wrestling companies, the RCW, the PWK, and Strong Style Wrestling. And also, I have already signed these superstars to be in attendance that night. You will see WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi, former WWE superstar and former tag team champions Grandmaster Sexy. Also, former WWE superstar Hornswoggle will be in action. And players, that's not all. You're going to see the former Ring of Honor champion Davey Richards, also Congo, the full-blooded Italians, Joey Ryan, Shane Mercer, and my man Jack the Thriller Ames. Players, I can't wait. And also, there's going to be a big meet and greet that starts around 5 p.m. So come and meet me and all the superstars of When Worlds Collide 3, South Bend, Indiana, the Century Center. That's Saturday, February the 4th, the year of 2017. And that's real talk, players. Holla.
So there's Teddy Long. He's going to be the special general manager, and he's got a lot of stuff lined up. Now, Teddy didn't get all the names exactly right. Congo is actually Congo Kong. Now he possibly has double duty that day because the title match for Strong Style Wrestling, their heavyweight championship, Congo Kong currently holds that belt. He is going to be going against Shane Mercer during the New Blood event. So in the afternoon, mostly new folks, but this one title match in the afternoon. And then the winner of that match, whoever comes out of New Blood with that Strong Style Wrestling Championship, will be defending that championship during the evening's event, When Worlds Collide 3. And also, Teddy was a nice guy to give a shout out to Jack the Thriller Ames, but that's actually 2 people. Jack Thriller is one person, and Ames, our potential guest, hopefully in a few weeks in the studio. 2 different people, not Jack the Thriller Ames, but I think I might make a sign, support Jack the Thriller Ames there at the show, and we'll have some fun with that maybe. But in the spirit of the double duty that Congo Kong may be pulling, or Shane Mercer, Jason Saint he's the manager of the group Horror Show, of which Congo Kong is one of the members. He had some words to say to Mike Smith, the promoter of Strong Style Wrestling, about Congo Kong's appearance at this show. So here's Jason Saint.
Anthony Toatelli. Joey
That
Ryan
is not
here.
Jason Saint. See, the problem with doing this digitally is everything is so close to each other in the directory. That was Joey Ryan. Still starts with a J. My finger missed. So we'll hear from Joey in a minute. Here's Jason Saint.
So the announcement has been made that at New Blood, Congo Kong will defend the Strong Style Wrestling Championship against the Iron Demon, Shane Mercer. Shane Mercer, a man who's undefeated in Strong Style Wrestling, a man who has done nothing but impressive feats of strength since stepping into the ring some 10 years ago, one of the most dedicated athletes in the world. But what you're forgetting, Mike Smith, is the last time those 2 were in the ring, Mercer was flattened on your canvas, not once, but twice. So we're ready for him and whoever the opponent's gonna be at When Worlds Collide. As if that day I don't already have my hands full, because I will be representing someone in your New Blood tournament, because it's me who decides the future of your company, not you, Mike Smith. I don't know if you remember this, but a year ago, your former champion, Shug D, the man who reigned for over a year, was stopped by Congo Kong. This Saturday will be no different. I will be managing the future of your company. I will keep the title around Kong's waist, not once, but twice. You bring your best, I'll bring my better.
And so that's Jason Saint, the manager of Congo Kong. And I have to thank the folks that make these promos. I get them off Facebook. So these events have Facebook pages, and when the wrestlers or managers make promo videos, sometimes they end up on the Facebook page. And so I just scour Facebook for the audio from these promos. and then bring them here for your listening pleasure and to talk about the shows. And I want to say thank you to all the people who make these promos, because they tend to keep them radio friendly, which is actually pretty impressive when they put them on the internet and they could say anything they want anytime they want. But they tend to keep it PG, or maybe PG-13, as a couple of the ones coming up soon here are going to show. So there's title matches galore here at When Worlds Collide 3, the main heavyweight title for all three of the promotions that are blending together for the show are up for grabs. So that Strong Style Wrestling Championship, Congo Kong versus Shane Mercer, that's one of them up for grabs. Another one is Revolution Championship Wrestling, RCW. Their world title match is going to be Jack Thriller, not Jack the Thriller Ames, but Jack Thriller versus Swoggle, formerly known as Hornswoggle in WWE. Now, Hornswoggle, the name must be owned by WWE, so he has to go by Swoggle now, but I'm pretty sure there's no confusion over who he is. And this is what Swoggle had to say about this match.
February 4th, South Bend, Indiana, the King of Small Style returns. And Jack Thriller, you and I, for the RCW Championship. I am going to make history. This is going to be my first independent title since being released. I will not let you fans down. I will be the new RCW champion. Jack Thriller, you better believe that when I come back on February 4th, I'm taking that belt home with me.
So there you have it. Swoggle is promising to win the RCW world title from Jack Thriller. Jack Thriller doesn't agree. Now, Jack Thriller is a unique individual, as you will tell from his voice right here.
Hi, everybody. Serial killer Jack Thriller here. I'm coming to you live from my garage after I just got done snow blowing my driveway, because we got like 3 feet. A little behind the scenes, because this is the reality area. I digress. See, just around the corner, just around the bend, February 4th. 2017 at South Bend, Indiana at the Century Center. That's my stomping ground. I've claimed many heads there. Us with their head! See, last time in Worlds Collide 2, I was let down. You want to know who let me down? Everybody that represented RCW during the Battle for It All, where it was Strong Styles Best 5, Pro Wrestling King's Best 5, and RCW's Best 5. See, that in itself is malarkey, because I wasn't on it. I wasn't on that team. That's why they lost. And you know another thing that really bothers me? I was just in Wisconsin last weekend, just kicking ass and taking names. That's what I do, yeah. And I heard a sawed-off of a man, a little midget, run his mouth. He said that he single-handedly led Strong Style. How are you going to do that? Single-handedly? He's half a man. Hornswoggle. Well, you know what? I got sick and tired of hearing your mouth. So I said something then. You laughed it off. I said I wasn't on that team. You said, or you said, because he's little, you can't even see me. That's how little he is. So you know what? I seen your name on the booking sheets, Swoggle. I seen it with my eye. That's what we'll do. If you're such the future of wrestling, the leader, the patriarch of Strong Style, I'm the very best RCW's ever even thought of. I'm the longest reigning RCW heavyweight champion. And the fact that, that's it. That is it. Let's do it. February 4th, the Century Center, you little pipsqueak, you little lollipop, that's right. And we represent the Lollipop Guild. Oh my God, why didn't I think of that in the beginning? February 4th, Century Center. Let's lock horns, short stuff.
And there's Jack Thriller telling Hornswoggle or Swoggle what's going to go down. What's funny about that recording, And Jack Thriller's enthusiasm is it when I capture the audio off of Facebook with these, I pop open Audacity and capture the audio coming through the system. And there might be better ways to do it, but that's the only thing I know how to do. And most of them, by the time they're through Facebook and through Audacity, they're at pretty low levels, and I have to amplify the sound to make them all come out relatively audible. But Jack Thriller did not have to amplify his voice a single bit, not even a fraction of a decibel. So good work, Jack. So those are the 3 title matches, 2 of the 3 title matches that are up for grabs. The last one is Pro Wrestling King, the PWK Kingdom title. That match is Ames versus Adam Bueller, and those guys were supposed to be here tonight to talk about that match, but the snow got in the way. So hopefully they'll be back sometime in February maybe to talk about the match afterwards, as long as they're still on speaking terms. Besides those big title matches, there's some tag team matches going on with tag team titles on the line. The Full-Blooded Italians of ECW fame will be taking on Spirit of Detroit, who currently hold the Pro Wrestling King tag team titles. Also in tag team action will be Rikishi and Brian Christopher, formerly of WWE. Rikishi of the large posterior will be taking on the Soul Shooters, and that's Drew Skills and Apollo Q Star. I think last week I said it was Drew Skills and Remy Wilkins, and that was a mistake. But anyway, the Soul Shooters had something to say about this.
February 4th, South Bend, Indiana, the Century Center Strong Style Wrestling returns with When Worlds Collide 3. The Soul Shooters are not on the flyer, which proves that Mike Smith is still being a petty hillbilly, especially when you realize the fact that the Soul Shooters are in the main event, because you know that the people want to see that timeless tag team funky freshness, and you got to give it to them, but you just can't give us our props. Just like we standing here holding tag titles that ain't the strong style tag titles. Because once again, the petty hillbilly will not create tag titles because he knows that the Soul Shooters would be the strong style tag team champions. But that's cool, Mike Smith. That's cool. You just keep lining them up, and we'll keep knocking them down to prove our tag team greatness. You know
he keeps bringing them in. Keep bringing them. Bring them. You brought in the Viking War Party. We beat them up so bad they don't even team together no more. You brought in former WWE Tag Team Champions, the Headbangers, and we beat them up and pin them in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. And on that very night, you, Brian Christopher, you stuck your nose in our business. Yeah. And when it comes time to pay the piper, what you do, you gonna bring my big goose? You gonna bring Rikishi big fat ass up in there with you? Hall of Famer. But you know what, speaking of that big fat ass, Rikishi, ain't gonna be no stink face on neither one of these pretty faces. Nah. February 4th is going down.
Show you what this timeless tag team greatness be about, player. You know what I mean?
Hey, you know what? Everyone been talking about the best tag team. People been putting out challenges. People been talking about it on Facebook. People been making promos, putting them on YouTube, making challenges. Well, I tell you what, we accept the challenge as well. We'll put out our own little challenge. It doesn't matter, Young Bucks, Hardys, OI4K, it doesn't matter who you are. Hooligans, bring it. We are the Soul Shooters. Recognize the name.
Respect the skill.
And tap before the snap.
So there's the Soul Shooters. And they are taking on Rikishi and Brian Christopher. And they're definitely going to try to avoid that stink face, as you heard there in that somewhat PG-13 rated promo there. Kevin Storm versus Owen Travers for the Revolution Championship Wrestling U.S. title. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 titles up for grabs at this show. At least this is going to be a great show. You've also got the Police Department, versus the Midwest Monsters, and I'm not sure who we're supposed to root for in that one. Most likely Midwest Monsters. Yay, Tank, go Tank, and Brutus Dillon. Matt Cross also from Lucha Underground as Son of Havoc, will be going against Davey Richards. Haven't heard from Davey Richards, but here's Matt Cross.
2016 has been one of those years that you look back on a career and you think, that was special. That was a banner year. 12 different countries. Matt Cross has pretty much done it all and seen it all, whether it's wrestling PJ Black or Cody Rhodes. It's literally been a who's who of this business, and I had a match against Ricochet that fans of Strong Style Wrestling are still talking about. So I want to take all that momentum from this year, and we're taking it into the new year, because there's no slowing down, you see. We're just getting started. And if you thought that me and Ricochet was something special, well, you're in for a treat. And you know if you were there, right? It was one of those special moments in wrestling where we made magic, and we can do it again. February 4th, Davey Richards, you and I have had some battles in the past. You were one of the hardest kickers, the biggest ass kickers that I know. We haven't wrestled since 2006. That's 9 years. 9 years of you getting better, 9 years of me getting better. I'll see you guys February 4th. Davey, be ready, because I will be with a crazy year behind me and a crazy year in front of me. We'll see you guys there.
I am definitely looking forward to seeing Matt Cross in action against Davey Richards. So again, this is a rundown of When Worlds Collide 3 coming up next weekend at the Century Center in South Bend. A couple of just appearances, Angelina Love and potentially Masquerita Sagrada. I saw his name up on a flyer for this or a poster on Facebook, but I haven't seen anything about a match. Maybe he's just making an appearance, or maybe he's not there anymore, but potentially, I'm not quite sure. I saved one match for last. I did run down all the different title matches that are on the line. There's one other match that I'm really looking forward to besides all those title matches. And that's going to be Joey Ryan versus Anthony Toatelli. So this is not a title match. This is a match for manly respect. So Joey Ryan is, he says he's bringing sleazy back to wrestling. And Anthony Toatelli works with his fiance and manager, Kenzie. And it looks like Joey Ryan has his eyes on that prize. So this is what Joey Ryan had to say to Anthony Toatelli.
Anthony Toatelli, Joey Ryan here in Tokyo, Japan with my friend RoboCop, because that's what well-known famous wrestlers do. We travel the world, we wrestle from country to country, and I'm coming to you live from Japan. Well, not live, this is taped. But anyways, I'm not trying to take anything away from you, your credibility, or your talents, but maybe, just maybe it's time for your lady friend, Kenzie Alexander, to move on to new heights, to new peaks, to new climaxes. And Joey Ryan is the man who can take her there. So on February 4th, Strong Style Wrestling in South Bend, Indiana, get ready, because you're taking on a man with rock star charisma, a man with movie star good looks, and the man is single-handedly bringing sleazy back to professional wrestling. You're taking on Joey Ryan, and Joey Ryan just might be the man to take your lady from you as well.
And so since we're just about out of time here on WVLP, I'll say thanks. I'm Ken the Metal Professor. This has been the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program, and I will let Anthony Toatelli have the final word to Joey Ryan. And then right after that, we will move into the replay of Davo's Punk Rock Radio.
So we're a couple weeks removed since Joey Ryan officially announced on social media via video that he's challenging me to a match at Strong Style Wrestling's show When Worlds Collide 3 on Saturday, February 4th in South Bend, Indiana. Let me just start by saying I've never had an issue with Joey Ryan, and I actually respect Joey Ryan's work. I mean, I enjoy watching the guy wrestle. And Joey, your story is one of success. Looks like you are traveling the world. And what you said in your video about being a world-class wrestler, obviously I can't take that away from you. You're Lucha Underground, huge superstar, and I'm not yet. But you did say in your video that, what was it? How did you put it? I don't want to take anything away from your abilities or your talent. But, well, the but means that you do want to take something away from my abilities and my talent. And Joey, don't think for 1 second that I don't believe with every fiber of my being that I am just as good as you, if not better than you. I may not be as well traveled. I may not have had the opportunities yet that you've gotten. But that's what 2017 is going to be all about. It's going to be about me reaching those new levels. And speaking of levels, what else is it that you said? You said that my wife here, my future wife, my fiance, Kinsey, you talked about how maybe she should drop me as, the person that she manages and maybe be with someone like you for, success, to reach new levels of success, new peaks is what you said. And brother, let me just tell you that in this relationship right here, we have conquered many a peaks. And the peaks that we've conquered are soft and they are all natural. And they're just for the two of us. You also said reaching new climaxes. And again, good sir, I say that there are plenty of climaxes in this relationship, like a plethora of them. And
could you not?
I was talking
Yeah,
about-
could you not?
Anyway, February 4th in South Bend, Indiana, Joey, Strong Style Wrestling Worlds Collide 3. You bring your, what did you say, rock star charisma and movie star good looks, and I will bring my rock star charisma and movie star good looks. And you bring that sleaze that you're trying to bring back to professional wrestling, and I'll bring showing out. And we'll see if Strong Style Wrestling is big enough to hold the both of those. And lastly, Joey, I just want to let you know, I get it. I've seen the social media buzz. I've seen it all over YouTube. I'm not touching your...
Yeah. You can't say that.
I can say
You
that.
can't say that.
I'm not touching your...
You can't say that.
I'm not touching your private
Very
part.
private part.
See you on February 4th.